Hey, happy Valentine's Day, everybody. Good afternoon. Welcome back to another episode of Mir Musk, the Bill from Jersey interview. Bill, it is an honor to meet you, sir. And it
You
is
too.
just
You
great
too.
to see you. You know, you're part of the Dabbleverse to some extent. You know, you're a high profile character in the Mud Shark Army, what I've heard from Chow and many others. And just thank you for coming on Mir Musk, man.
We're doing it.
Exactly, exactly.
A-
We're
Thanks for
doing
having
it.
me
As
on, guys.
as General Z would say, we are doing it, and I like to think I might be Zumac's biggest fan, but according to General Z, you are his biggest fan. So you've supplanted me as his biggest fan, and I don't take it personal. I still rep Mud Shark Army till the day I die. So we're just brothers in arms when it comes to this war that we're fighting in the dab here. So it's an honor to
Well,
have
the three of
yeah.
us were in his chat room pretty much in the beginning. Like when he
Oh,
started,
yeah.
his own little thing after MLC. The three of us were like the main three people that were always sending super chats, and Mir was
Three
always
amigos.
sending inspirational stuff, and we were like the top people chatting in there for a while.
Fuck yeah, man. Those are the good old
Exactly.
days.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was like
And
a
that
year
would
ago. It feels like it was 10.
That was a good time. That would to me, I still
Yeah,
pinpoint that time where he kind of, did the oil can and then was all
yeah.
riled up and then split from MLC and was just so mad and stream sniping them all the time. I thought that was the funniest and the best
Was
Zumock era.
Yeah.
Was that the high point, do you think, of that era of Chad Zumach with the podcasting? Or do you think it might be now, Bill? Because you watch more
Uh,
prolifically than we do,
yeah.
I'm sure.
Uh, it's tough to say. I mean, that was a high point, but now that he's done with the sniping and he's actually doing shows, it's a lot different. Before it was just him just watching Kevin and commenting, but at that time he was definitely getting more watchers. At that point, it was all the people that hated Kevin that
Yeah.
didn't want to watch Kevin but would watch it through chat. So I mean, he had way more people watching then than he does now. But some of his stuff now, some of the shows he has now, I like better than him just sniping.
Yeah, so one thing General Z does, I think, is he exudes so much energy in the fight and in the battle, and he tuckers himself out after a while. So he has these highs and lows and
Right.
eras of his streaming where he gets all riled up, and
Yeah.
then he's done with it for a bit, and then I think recently the Meanie storyline he had was
Oh
great,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and
It's like
it
pro
looks like
wrestling. He always has a story. There's always a storyline, and then it always ends either really tragically or whatever. But it's just
Right.
there's like a story. Every like people on the internet always come after me, like just being his fan, just for being a fan of Chad. And it's like I don't even tweet about people for the most part. I'll repost stuff. I don't go after people and
Yeah, I've
their
never seen you do
families and all that stuff.
anything derogatory
No,
at all.
when Chad goes after the families or goes after Melton's wife or somebody's wife. I don't like it. I don't like that stuff. I don't get into the families. Yeah, I'll laugh and I think it's funny for some of the
Yeah, I
stuff,
mean,
but
it
I
is
don't get
funny,
involved at
but
all. Yeah,
right,
but I don't get involved in that. I don't like going after people's families. I don't like the wife, the kids. That's nonsense. You want to come after me? Come after me. I'm fine with it. But the
right.
wife
right,
stuff and then the doxing and all that crap. I was an old O&A and Howard Stern fan, so I was part of. I used to be at like a pest with the O&A. They called them the
sure.
pest.
Yeah,
We go after radio stations or the hosts,
yeah,
and we'd attack the bulletin boards, but we never went after the fans. Like we never attacked somebody because they like that radio station or they like that person. But now it's different. Now everybody just starts email or messaging me or coming after me or calling me names because I'm just a fan of somebody.
I think it's easier nowadays to see who fans are compared to back then
Yeah,
too. You know what I'm
absolutely.
saying? So it's just like, oh
Absolutely.
shit, he's a fan of him. Perfect. Let's attack him too.
Yeah. Yeah, there
Well,
was
it's
no visualization. It was all
Right.
just radio, and it was on these bulletin boards were kind of the same as Twitter, where you just were anonymous. You put an anonymous picture, you just put an anonymous name, and nobody never knows who you are. You're just
Right.
Bill from Jersey, that's it. You're just that guy. That's it.
It's incredible too the response Zumock elicits out of some people because they, as much as they love maybe some host or they hate them so much. Like to me,
Yeah.
I'm more baseline on all of it. So it's like to me,
Right.
but like yeah, some people are like, well, he stole from veterans or like they had whatever. There's a
So
sticking
stupid.
point in
Yeah.
that has caused the person to like dislike them so
Right.
much,
Of course.
and
But they still
I
watch.
yeah, they still watch. Exactly. You kind
That's
of
the
want to
part
have
I don't get. I'll watch a clip. Somebody will I'll see clips, and I won't even, if it's like more than like 6 minutes or something, I'm like, I'm not even gonna watch it. I don't care. But if I see a clip up there of something that happened during the show, I'll watch it. But if I don't like the show, I'm not gonna sit there and hate watch it for an hour or 2 hours.
It's a waste of your fucking time.
Yeah, it's a
Right.
waste of time. I'm not gonna sit there for an hour or two just typing away on a keyboard about something I don't like. I just don't. I never got that part of it. The hate watching and if you do it once, that's fine. But then you're doing it every time he's going live.
Right.
I don't get it.
Right. Like they say, like love and hate are not opposites. It's like love and hate are on the same side, and like indifference it would be the opposite of that,
Right.
because they're both strong emotions, versus
Yeah.
like indifference would be like the absence of either emotion. So yeah, I
Right.
think there's some of that going on. And then yeah, it's kind of become like some of it's pro wrestling, and now that
Oh, yeah.
has really played out strong with this latest AC event, which
Oh,
you
yeah.
were prominently featured there as
Yes,
as
sir.
a guy
VIP
on the
right here,
street.
Billy.
Yeah, VIP. So let's touch on what happened over the weekend. I know by this point it's kind of old news. We covered clips of it, but we just want your perspective of being on the ground. So when did you get in? And give us a little rundown of the events.
Yeah, were you
So this kind of
starstruck?
has actually, it was really cool. So I'll start from the beginning of the AC thing. So I got down there Saturday. I got down there, got my room. I immediately check in. As soon as I check in, I'm going to go to the elevators. As soon as I go to the elevators, here comes Vince the lawyer and Stuttering John.
Oh,
Just
shit.
walk right out. And now I gotta admit, I was a huge Howard Stern fan for a very long time before John became whatever the heck he is now. So it was kind of like starstruck. It was cool. It was somebody I saw in my early teens when I was younger that I really, he was a great interviewer. The stuff he
Right.
did and the way he acted on Howard Stern. So seeing him was kind of a little starstruck, you know. So I see him. I go up to my room. Chad messages me. They're all going to dinner. This place in Atlantic City. It was him. It was me, Chad, Tony Mazur's wife, Ken Mosca, who arranged the whole comedy show, and Gino Piscante and Kiana. So I was like, I don't know how this is gonna go now. Chad and Gino have their thing, right? So I get to the bar. I'm the first one there. They're comics, so they show up late.
Right.
Everybody shows up late. Me, I'm always early. I get there. I'm sitting at the bar having some drinks.
You're a
Ken
gentleman.
Mosca comes in. Yeah, I'm talking to him. And then Gino comes in, and me and Gino, we're doing a couple shots. We're drinking. And then Chad comes in. It was the first time I had met Chad. I mean, he didn't even want to drink before the show. Everybody always talking about him being this alcoholic and everything. He was the responsible one. He's like, I'm not drinking. I'm not doing shots.
He wants to be sharp as
me and Gino. Me and Gino were doing shots of Jameson, and he wanted no part of it.
Right.
So we went to the dinner. Dinner was great. We had a great dinner, and Chad's like, I want to go over to the venue to see what it looks like. He wanted to see the setup because they tried to get in there earlier, but there was a private event going on, so they couldn't get inside the venue.
Okay.
So we get to the venue, and it's it's a nice little craft beer spot, but not conducive to stand-up comedy.
Right.
The stage was tiny because usually they just have maybe somebody on there with an acoustic guitar or something. It's not conducive for a stand-up show.
Okay.
So we get in there, and everybody's around the bar. All these people start coming out. You get all the guys that are, there was a guy, Johnny Carson, he calls himself. All these chatters.
He's been on MLC. I know who he is. Yeah. Mini celebrity
everybody's
in the
introducing themselves as their
Handles.
YouTube names.
Yeah.
It's like, hey man, I'm Johnny Carson. I'm like, Johnny Carson. I'm like,
You're
oh,
the fuck?
Yeah. So
Beloved Chatter.
Everything. Yeah, Beloved Chatter. He is a tall dude.
I heard Ray say it 10 times. Yeah.
Dude, I'm 6'2". He towered over me.
Holy shit. Right.
Towered. He had to be 6'4", 6'5". He had to be 6'5" easily.
It sounds like there's a lot of big dudes there.
Yeah. And the dude, who else was there? The guy that does the psychiatrist that's on Kevin's show. He calls him
that guy. Yeah,
I heard.
Dude, that guy's the same size as Beloved Chatter. He's 6'5".
Holy fuck! All right.
It's huge. He's huge. So so it was all that. There was some bumps in the road. They tried to get Chad tried to get a microphone because they had speakers in the ceiling.
Right.
So he wanted everybody to be able to hear that was sitting in the back. First of all, there was no door guy. So there was nobody checking tickets. Nobody. I guarantee 50% of the people that were there probably
Just
didn't
walk
even
right
pay
in.
for the event. Yeah, they didn't pay for the event. Okay. There was no door guy. There was no security. There was nothing. There was nothing. So that was a
That
problem.
sounds like
to
a good
begin
time, bro.
with. So right away, I see Stuttering John's there. He's sitting at a table. He gets up and starts walking towards me and Chad. I'm like, oh God, how's this gonna go? Can't stomach the stomach.
Yeah,
I was
right.
waiting for it. Yeah. So he comes up, he shook our hands, and only thing he said to Chad was he went to shake Chad's hand. He goes, "You need to apologize to me for talking about my kids." He's like, "You need to apologize." And Chad's like, "Okay, man, I apologize." He's like, "It's all good. Let's just have fun, And they shook
Right.
hands and
Let's be
they moved
normal.
on.
Dude, I think that picture someone posted online of them
Yes.
shaking
Yeah.
hands is great because Chad's like grinning and bent over and
He's like,
Stuttering John's like kind of leaning back with a stern look on his face. That's probably right what he said, like apologize.
That's right then.
Yeah.
Yep. That was right then. Because right as soon as they went to shake hands, he goes, "You need to apologize." Chad's just like, "All right, man, I'm sorry. It's cool." He was just, as much as everybody badmouthed the event, I gotta say it was a ton of fun. Like everyone, there was no arguments. There was no, "Hey, you're on this show," or "You listen to that show." There was none of that. Everybody was just hanging out, drinking, talking. It was really a great event.
it was a
But
good show, yeah.
yeah. So the girl behind the bar hands him the wireless mic because now it's like 5 after 8, and Keanu's supposed to, start the show. So they get the wireless mic. Chad tries talking it 1 2 1. He's like, "It's not working." We both look at it. The battery's dead.
Oh my, dude, this
Battery's
is
dead
on
in the
fucking
microphone.
venues, bro.
Oh, it's crazy. It's crazy. So now it's 5 after 8. So he says, "Okay, the mic's dead. What do we do?" The girl's like, "Oh, I don't know. I got a speaker with a microphone." So she goes and gets this other microphone. That microphone doesn't work. Now it's 10 after 8. All of a sudden, he goes to someone else. The bartender was supposed to be the manager. Now
Right.
he's got a bar slammed. I'm saying 3 to 4 people deep on top of like probably 10 people standing at the bar. And he's trying to like tell Chad, "Listen, I don't know what to do. Give me a second. Now it's 10 after 8. He's like, Chad's like, "I don't have a second. It's 10. We got to start the show." So finally, some girl goes and gets a speaker with like a microphone, just like one of those like it looks like a boombox speaker someone would be carrying on their arm or something.
Right.
It's kind of
Yeah.
long, but it's kind of longer than that. But it like lights up. Has lights up in colors around the outside.
Right.
So they get that, and that starts to work. So they start the show.
Right.
The show was good. Uh, Gino went on for like an hour and a half.
Oh
Close the
shit.
show.
Damn.
He just
Okay.
kept going. But the problem was you didn't know he was up there for an hour and a half because everyone was talking over them. Like you could not, if you were standing halfway
Really?
to the back of the room, it was tough to hear.
Oh,
Like because everybody's
man.
talking. Yeah. But if you were like up in the front in the seats, you could hear, you could hear everything. I was standing more towards the front. So, and every comic did great. Every comic did great. And everybody says Chad bombed. He didn't bomb.
What was the
The
set
whole
list?
room was, what's that?
What was
It
the
went
set list?
Keanu opened, Tony Mazer, then Chad, and then Gino closed.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds
But
like a cool vibe.
it was
Not
a
like a
great event.
traditional comedy club, but like since it was at a bar, people were able to kind of go in the back and
Yeah.
bullshit, but also listen.
Right.
And then
You
people
could
wanted
move away from where the comedy was and kind of move back and still be
Right.
able to hear the comedy, but be able to have conversations, which I mean, I'm sure was annoying for the comics, but for the people at the event, it was kind of cool. Everybody was able to still kind of talk.
Mhm.
So,
right. So it sounded like it
and
went
then,
well, and it was all
yeah,
kumbaya with everyone there.
for everyone else but me.
Hey, what happened
I
to
got
you,
sick,
bro?
bro. So I didn't eat all that. I woke up in the morning, couldn't eat. I got major stomach problems. I got like diverticular. I got all kinds of stuff. So
Okay.
I didn't eat in the morning, and I couldn't eat lunch. I just kind of snacked on my way down to AC, and so I waited to dinner, and then I guess drinking all the Jameson, and
Yeah, boy.
I must have done 8 shots of Jameson
Oh, yeah, yeah,
between
you're going.
dinner and the show. And now usually I can tolerate that. But when I haven't eaten all day and like my stomach was hurting to begin with, I started cramping up and stuff. I'm like, I ghosted everybody. I was standing there talking to Mazer's wife and Mazer, and I'm like, hold on, I'll be right back. I dialed my Uber right away, and I got the hell out of there. I went right to the hotel. I went right up to my room. I held it to my room. I threw up in my room, and I just passed out. That was it. I woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning, like, oh my god, like what happened? And then I saw you guys. You guys were messaging me and everything. And
Right.
No, it's all good. We had a crazy show. We had Ski Mask on,
Yeah.
we had Joey C
That's what
on,
I
and we
heard.
had Mersh on. So we ended up kind of covering some of it. And actually, it probably benefited you because to me, you're the baddest man in the dab. Like you've got all this martial arts training. You can whoop ass. And if you were down, I know you know now because it's old news now, but a bunch of
Yeah.
drama went down by the bar that night. And if you were down there, I think things might have gotten even crazier with you being around.
And it was funny because Levy was messaging me, like direct messaging me all day. He knew I was coming down to AC. He started messaging me the night before, and he was messaging me in the morning. He's like, "Are you down in AC yet?" I was like, "No." He's like, "I heard it's crazy at the hotel," and that was early in the day. That was like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm like, "Really?" He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "I heard it's crazy down there." He's like, "I'll be back there tonight. I got a show in North." So he lives in South Jersey. He drove 2.5 hours to do a cancer benefit, and then drove 2.5 hours back down to the casino to just see Kevin. So he was,
just to see Kevin.
Yeah, just to see Kevin.
Damn.
So
Okay,
they
that's
got this.
confirmed then. That's confirmed then. Okay.
Yep. Yeah. He went there to hang out, but he was going there to get his money. I mean, he had been saying for a while, Kevin owed him $6,000, and that's what he was. He wanted to confront Kevin to his face and be, and finally say something to him. It's $6,000.
Right. And then Kevin confronted him first instead. Oof.
Yeah,
Well,
surprise attacked
sorta.
him. Kinda, yeah.
Sorta. I like Kevin and all. I like his show, and I get it, like how he is. But I mean, screaming Bobby as you got 5 people in front of you, blocked away. I mean, come on.
Yeah. I wasn't. I think he knew it. It was smart how he did it. He came from above, and Bob was below, and we had Mersh on. He thinks it's all a work, but I don't know. It's hard to say the emotion on that
It's absolutely
one.
not.
Yeah. Okay. So
I can tell you for a fact, it's absolutely not a work.
So
Bob Levy does not take crap from anyone. That dude, I've heard stories over the years from New Jersey comics. I know a couple of local New Jersey comics that do shows and stuff, and they know Bob, and they said you just don't mess with Bob Levy, and you don't mess with his money. You just don't.
Shooter.
Yeah. I mean, Gino's told stories about him, beating up comedy club owners. Like he's beat the crap out of a comedy club owner. Like Artie Lang was telling a story when he was on Howard Stern about a comedy club owner that wasn't going to pay or something happened, and they were falling over. Bob was throwing this guy over a table. Levy don't play. That stuff's not a work to him when it comes to that.
Yeah, because didn't Kevin Brennan and what's his face Patrick have that was all a work, right? Their little beef.
No, the picture was, so the way Kevin describes it, and I've heard from a couple other people that were around the area. They said that Kevin got food and he went to go sit down. When he went to go sit down, he saw Melton was there with 3 or 4 other guys at a table. He's like, "What am I going to do? I'm going to go sit at a table by myself." They know that they see me, I see them. He's like, "So I just went over there and sat down." So he went over there, sat down and ate his food. And Melton said, "Hey, Kev, look over here," and took that picture of them two and then said it was a work.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But even that in its sense is a meta work, so it's so it's some of it's kind of tiring, and
it is.
I did a stream with Stancil over the weekend, and we didn't really touch on the events of AC, but he says that Kevin is more meticulous in kind of how he does his show, and he does play somewhat of a character. So I bet it's in between. He doesn't hate him, he doesn't like him, but he plays it up at certain points. And I don't know. It's kind of.
I mean, look what he's done with Chad over the last year. 1 month, a few months, they hate each other. He won't let Chad on the show. Chad's a scumbag. Chad's this, Chad's that, and then he's back on the show.
Do you know how much money they made us? Everyone begging for Chad to come back on right when he kicked Chad off. Do you remember that shit?
Yeah.
It was that was a lot of money right there, man.
Yeah,
I was gonna say though, so you go in there. When was the show? Was it Friday or Saturday?
Saturday. Was the show.
You got there on Saturday, correct?
Yeah, they were all there for the Super Bowl on Sunday.
Okay, did you stay for the Super Bowl or did you leave right after?
No, I left Nah, I got up in the morning hurting at like 7 o'clock in the morning. Got my car because I have like a 2 hour drive. So I got my car. I was like, I'm going home. I
Right.
left
I gotta
7
get out of
o'clock in the
here
morning.
before I down
Yeah, I
another
didn't want to stay
Jameson
there.
shot.
Yeah, I want to watch the Super Bowl. I didn't want to hang out with a bunch of dudes talking Dabbleverse as I'm trying to watch the Super Bowl. I was like, I'm not staying for the Super Bowl.
Right.
I really wanted you to. I was really hoping you'd be there when Ray checked
When
in.
Ray came in,
Yeah, because I wanted you to film him like walking into the hotel and then with his big laundry basket, and then
laundry basket.
get a little confrontation on his ass. But it's all good.
So he did a show Saturday night, right? With somebody, wasn't he on with somebody? Was it John?
Saturday night he called in. So he was actually Saturday night he was in Marietta, Pennsylvania doing a bar gig, and he got all wasted, of course. And he called in at like 2 a.m. to Stuttering John and Vince, and they were just clowning his ass nonstop. And that's where he started talking mad shit on Levy. So that's a new beef that's like really intensified. He said they
were just playing all that on the BS show this morning.
Right. Okay, so Levy basically he says he's a better comic than Levy, and I don't know where this ego that Ray's gotten lately is like crazy. He's like thinking he's like
because people are feeding into it. He's got, and it doesn't matter how many people. If one person feeds into it, he believes it. He takes it. He runs with it. Like Chad says, he takes it and he runs with it. But it's the truth.
He fixates on it. Yeah.
Yeah, he fixates on it, and then that's his whole like thing is like forever is that one comment or that one thing he holds on to it. Yeah.
Right. So that happened Saturday. Then I guess he arrived in AC the next day, like in the afternoon or something, and instantly got wasted and made a fool of himself or whatnot. But that would have been great to get him. I wanted to talk to the front desk about his disability scam he was running, and I had all these different plans. But
I couldn't even believe that was real.
That's crazy that worked, that you just call up the Borgata and you just tell them that I'm handicapped without having to show any form of like handicap sticker or handicapped anything, and you could just get a handicap room.
This fucked up, dude.
Yeah, super.
Crazy because you have gout.
I know, right? I'm sorry that you and he doesn't even take care of his own gout, so it was like he's encouraging himself to be fucked up. I don't know.
Right.
No, that's the thing. I think how those phone lines work at MGM is when you call in to book a room, you just get a virtual assistant from the Philippines kind of on the phone, and they're kind of like, well, they did a little due diligence, like, well, are you disabled? And he said, yeah. And that was it, because I don't know how he could actually confirm it over the phone, like if he has an ID or something.
But I don't know if you heard, before Chad had went to AC, I don't know, this was a few weeks ago, somebody called up and canceled his reservation for his room at Borgata.
Oh, right. What?
Yeah, somebody had just called up and canceled his reservation, and he found out about it, I guess, because he probably got an email saying that your confirmation has been canceled. So he ends up calling back, booking another room. They end up giving him a huge discount. But I was like shocked. I'm like, so anyone could just find out that you're staying at a hotel and just cancel it, without any like without giving the credit card information or like some sort of like checking on it. That's crazy.
I think he might have posted something that showed his confirmation number, or maybe someone, since they know his phone number, who knows? Like, could have probably done it for Ray too, but I don't know. That's kind of like stepping over a line, to me.
Yeah,
like, fucking with his like reservation. But
I mean, that's why the ski mask had a huge issue, right, with the Bahamas.
Right.
Oh,
had us in a police.
But he got him stuck in the Bahamas. Yeah. See, I think that whole situation. I think Chad would be like, I'm not speaking for Chad. I don't know what he thinks, but just from hearing him, I know that like maybe he'd be a little bit more like forgiving and cool to Ski Mask if that whole situation in the Bahamas didn't happen. That really, really bothered him. That whole situation that went down, because it was a big thing.
Yeah, and we had Ski Mask on 4 or 5 times now. We've had Chad on a few times, and we've talked about, and we had them both on together once. And
I was watching that whole thing.
Yeah. So we've kind of tried to
squash the beef,
squash it. And actually, Ski Mask is like, he's on a bender.
Squashed.
Yeah, squashed. And they have Ski Mask has lately been giving him huge props. He's gotten back on the Z-Man train. So hopefully
he's been super chatting and everything and sending him money.
Oh, he has?
I mean, isn't that
he's been
he sent him $20 the other day. He just sent him $20, just a $20 sticker, like with no comment, no nothing.
That's
Yeah.
awesome, man.
He said some good stuff
I
on
even had
Saturday
to
night
look.
about him. Yeah.
Yeah, I even had to look. Like I went through the chat and I looked at his name and went to the channel to make sure it was really him. You know, I'm like, is that really Ski Mask? I look, I'm like, wow. I told Chad, I said, yeah, that's really him. He's sending you $20.
Yeah, no, that's good. But speaking of which, since we're like core colonels in the Mud Shark Army here, the three of us, and
Yes, sir.
for General Z, the latest development now is Zumach's trying to get in the fight game, it sounds like. And
Oh yeah.
Bill, you got thrown into the middle of this. Help me make sense of it, because I saw yesterday that he wanted to fight Nap Dixon. But Sleepy Nap Dixon. Now,
I like that nickname.
But now it sounds like the new proposed bout is Patty versus Zumach, right?
Right. So what I had seen, so I Chad was on MLC and I was kind of going back and forth. I was, actually having a life and living it, and kind of was like going back and forth. And I saw, that he was going. I saw the whole thing where he was going off on Pat Dixon. So I was just screwing around on my phone like later on, and I saw Melton had posted, that he wanted to fight Chad, and he said, or a boxing match. So I was like, all right, well, Chad was saying he wanted to go to Hackamania. He didn't want to pay. He wasn't going to pay to go to Hackamania. He wanted to go to Hackamania. I thought to myself, I'm like, well, why don't you guys just fight each other at Hackamania? That's what I said. I said, I forget what the exact post was, but I put, something like, oh, I know I'm going to get attacked, for posting this, but, Melton versus Chad Hackamania. And then I accidentally deleted it. Like I accidentally deleted the tweet. I was just screwing around, accidentally deleted the tweet. Right away, I went and reposted it and said, okay, I accidentally just deleted the tweet. I said, but here's what I said. And I did it. 2 seconds later, Melton goes right on, even your number one fan said we should fight at Hackamania before he deleted his tweet like a pussy.
Oh, shit.
So right away, I screenshot my original post to my next post. It was less than a minute time. And I said, yeah, you forgot to post this part where I said that I accidentally deleted my tweet,
Right.
Yeah, well, he's a narrative crafter, so but that's the thing. Okay, so if this is a legit potential headlining bout, Zumach versus Fatty Patty, what do you guys think of that bout? Who do you think? Who do you like in that? Because I think Melton's got size on it. I like Chad's tenacity.
See, that's the problem. Is the size issue. Like, I mean, I don't know if you listened back in the day, Stutter and John fought Cabby.
Right. Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a huge weight difference, but I think this is even bigger of a weight difference. Like, I met Chad. Everybody calls him fat. He's not fat. He's not fat. He's, he's kind of a smaller, he's got a
stocky
5'9". Yeah. Yeah. He's not fat, but Melton's big. Melton's a big dude. Melton's got the height. He's got the weight. So, I mean, that way I think it's a little uneven, but
boxing, you need those legs. So I don't know if I don't know if he's got the legs to last.
And Chad walks a lot too. I know that.
Yeah. And that's the other thing is the stamina. That's the biggest part of it is like getting through the rounds. Cause I know Melton smokes like crazy. Like I know he smokes cigarettes all the time and he's always smoking.
Smokes the devil's lettuce, all that shit.
Smokes dicks.
I didn't say that.
I didn't say that.
I don't need to get attacked later for that.
but I mean, you're right though. The size and the reach and everything is a huge advantage. Yeah,
stick and move.
And I think Melton's a couple years younger. So I don't know, like health wise,
he's probably like 10 years younger, right? How old is Melton's in his late 30s?
I think he's in his early 40s or mid 40s.
Okay,
and then I think he's like 5-6 years 48. Younger. Yeah, so they're not too far off, but
no.
Yeah, neither of them are
the pinnacle of health, but
physical specimens. But it could be an interesting bout. And
I would love in this world, honestly.
Yeah,
you are. You're a jiu-jitsu master, man.
Yeah. So if we are, he says he's 45 decline. I think I've heard that too, 44, 45 ish. If we drop that as a main event, and then we're trying to do maybe like the Mud Shark Army versus the Hackamania nerds or whatever, what are some other potential bouts that we could craft up with like us? Like Mir, who would you want I'll let Mir, you choose first. Who do you want in a boxing match between DeVito,
Like
Nap
undercard?
Dixon, undercard? It's either DeVito, Nap Dixon.
Honestly, I'd like to see you and Ray DeVito box in one.
That's what I would love to see.
Yeah, I would have to see that, man.
Yeah,
I would almost say I'd have to do Ray and someone else at the same time. Like if I did Ray and Carl, because Carl, you know, has got some mobility issues, and so does Ray. So if it was a 2-on-1, I would initially I was saying maybe Mir, you do DeVito.
I'll fuck up Ski Mask real quick, bro.
No, Ski's on our team. So Ski would be on our team, and you would have to pick between Mir. You'd have to pick between Nap Dixon, Ray DeVito, Carl, or Earl Skakel.
Honestly,
or Tukey. I guess Tukey is another one too.
I love puppets. I'll fuck up a puppet no matter what, bro.
So you take on the Tukey character. Bill, Bill, you'd have to almost go 3-on-1 with one of these guys because like you'd have to just take Earl, Nap Dixon, and Ray all at once just to make it fair.
I'd fight Stevie Lute and I would defend Ryan's honor. That's what I would do.
Okay. Mir versus Luke. If Luke's on Team Hackamania, that would be good.
I would defend.
Defend
Ryan's honor.
He's someone that keeps coming after me. He's somebody that I've had a thing with, Stevie Lou, and it all started with him. He likes to blame me because he lies a lot. But,
yes, he does
a lot, and I didn't have any problem with him. I was commenting on a post because people were saying some wrong information about Chad, and I just was like, no, that didn't happen or whatever. And he's like, oh well, that's because you got fat tits just like him, blah blah blah. And I'm like, bro, what are you you're coming at me calling me fat titted, really? Like that's what you're saying. So then that's when I started going after him online, and then I just stopped. And then I sent a super chat into MLC the one day, and he started acting like I've been threatening him online. He's like, I ain't reading this. He like paused up. He wouldn't read my super chat. He made Kevin read it. And in my bottom, on all my posts up until AC, I was putting hashtag CU and AC on every single post that I did. He's like, he's threatening me with the CU and AC. Like he started like going off saying that I was threatening him. I'm like, I'm not threatening you. Like there's no threats. I've never threatened anyone online.
I'm just saying
like,
CU and AC. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I think that's his character is like he likes to get mad and drum up physical drama beefs because he's done that before with other people, and it's like. Yeah, like the Ryan Katsu Rivera, which they actually ended up boxing, and now he's training and boxing. I never had a problem with them either, but I have noticed that trend of him. Like he likes, I think he's doing this like wrestling tough guy angle type thing as a character, basically. Yeah,
it's a small man complex, not because of his height, but because another
Ski Mask, you know, when he was blacked out on our show on Saturday, he had a lot to say about fighting Lou too. So Lou could either I guess Mir wants Lou, but Ski Mask wants
I don't
Lou.
think you give Ski Mask Lou, bro. Because
Lou wants to fight Bill.
Lou gave out Ski Mask's job, his actual job, and that is something you don't
That's
do.
messed up. That's messed up, man.
Yeah, so all that drama. I mean, Lou's. We tried to do this pre-AC show the first time around where we set up a bunch of fictitious bouts, and I had a whole sheet of all of them I had drawn out based off beefs, and Ski was in the middle, a lot of those. Lou was in the middle, a couple of them. Ray, Chad, Stuttering John, all these guys. But sounds like if this is actually going down in Vegas with Zumak and Fatty Patty, maybe we could try to craft an undercard around it and figure out who wants to fight. Maybe make it like an Olympic type thing, like Team Mudshot versus Team Hackverse or whatever.
And the prize is you can take out Dalish for a date. That'll be the prize.
Dalish is the prize. Yeah, let's do it.
There you go.
Yeah, happy Valentine's Day, Dalish, by the way. And Ari Jane, all the dimes of the Dabbleverse. Happy Valentine's Day to you. So yeah, what we can figure out, we'll get Ari, Dalish, maybe MJ. We'll get all the Dabbleverse dimes as ring girls.
Some Kate Meany, maybe.
Kate Meany, yeah, she get her in there.
What is your take on like the Alex Stein, Kate Meany debacle, man? With Chad Zumock and Stuttering John. Like honestly, what is your take on all that weird shit?
I don't know. You know, Alex Stein, I don't understand why he cares that he slept with her. He's not married. So I didn't understand like
He's
what
just
the
engaged,
whole.
so it's all right.
Oh, he's engaged.
Yeah, he's got that kid sister, girlfriend, or whatever that Pot Awful always covers.
Yeah,
So
he's just
Oh,
engaged.
yeah,
see, I didn't know.
It's still okay,
yeah.
right?
I didn't know that. I didn't know that. Did not know that. I never
So
knew. I thought
maybe
it was
that's
all.
why.
Yeah, I never knew. I never know with him because everything's a work. Like everything with him is so like because his he brings around that guy that says is his wife's boyfriend or his wife's whatever.
Right.
The dude he was messing with on the subway and all that stuff. So I never know what's a work and what's not.
Well,
But
there's a couple guys, Cake, Nebraska, and Pot Awful. They exposed that he was actually banging MTG or whatever, the congresswoman. They like figured out
really?
what. Yeah, so I think that was at a W
Wow.
hotel too, down somewhere in DC. But yeah, so he's getting around. I mean, Meanie's bad. Meanie's bad compared to that Congress lady. She's
Yeah.
a little older,
Yeah.
and
See what
yeah.
fame does to you. It twists you
Yeah.
and turns you into a despicable person who cheats on their
Oh.
fiance.
Yeah.
All right, that's disgusting.
Exactly.
I like Kate. I like Kate Meany. I felt like she really got. She didn't know what she was getting into. Like she had no idea what this world really was. Like till she got in the mix of it, and then it was too late. It was just too late.
I think so. And then I think, I had talked to her a little bit, and I tried to tell her because she with the Melton thing really pissed her off, like made her go mental. And I tried to tell her like, hey, just get out. Like in December, I was like, there's nothing you can really do. They're just the more you put out, the more they're gonna pile on.
Of course.
And she did the opposite. She loved the attention.
Of course.
She loved stirring the shit. So, and then it got worse and worse. But hopefully, it seems like she's taking it in good stride or whatever at this point. So hopefully things are good with her. I mean, but the
smart thing for her was to just go away. It was just that was the smartest thing for her was to just go away.
So
yeah,
Bill,
I told her there's no upside. Like
No.
even the best guys in this dab are like the most profitable because and the most attention driven people like Kevin and the Shuli Network and Mountain, they're like not making that much money. Like she could make more money in New York City with her connections and like an advertising firm starting, so it's like what's the high end of this? So
just being talked about entertainment.
The attention. Yeah, she loved the attention.
Yeah. Well, most of these works and most of these things that go on, these people are trying to drive people to their channels to drive up the super chats, to drive in the money. She doesn't host the show. She doesn't do anything. So it makes no sense. There's no upside. She's not doing comedy gigs where she's trying to get people to show up. So getting yelled at or being disgraced or going after people, there's no upside for her. There's none.
Maybe she likes being abused. I don't know.
Maybe.
Maybe that's a turn on. But
I've met quite a few of those.
I bet you have. I bet you're a slinger. I know. I can tell.
Back in the day, yeah, sure, 20 years ago.
No, I kind of want to ask you though, Bill.
Yeah.
So I would say like because you were a fan of MLC before Chazumuk left, I'm sure, right? With all those guys.
Yeah.
When did you first find MLC and all those gentlemen? Because actually, before you answer that, so you're a fan of O&A, you're a fan of Howard Stern, and you love those shows. You're a pest, like you said, right, and all that good shit. And then they went away. Howard Stern kind of fell off a little bit, from his OG fan base who really enjoyed what he did when he went woke. And then O&A kind of fell apart once Anthony left, and then Jim and Norton and then Opie had that huge fighting, and they kind of broke apart.
Right.
So you were probably in purgatory for a little bit, trying to find a show you enjoyed to that type of East Coast vibe, and then you stumble upon MLC in Compound Media. Like, in my opinion, how happy were you to find another source of entertainment like this that you were used to as a younger gentleman? And also, how did you find it?
It was great. So I listened to Opie and Jim just because I was still kind of hanging on to the Opie and Anthony thing.
Right.
I was still listening to Anthony on Compound, but after he left Sirius and he started his own thing, he got like way more racist than he was. Like way more. Way above and beyond. Like before it was little stuff here or there, and it was funny because it was comedic, but he got to a point where it was just straight up saying
come on, bro. Like,
well, he was spiteful probably because part of the reason he got fired was a situation that had to do with that. So
the black trans lady.
And then he leaned in. It was right when the culture war was really heating up, and around the time Trump, and it was getting Trump and the Hillary were running for office when he started doing his compounds, or back then it was called Kumia Network. And so I think he just kind of
country.
he went down that lane. So you were watching the Anthony Cumia Network back then, and then you were seeing.
Yeah, I was kind of going back and forth. I would listen to Opie, and then because they were always attacking each other back and forth, it was getting crazy. And then Opie had Kevin Brennan on, and Kevin came on and started talking about his brother Neil. Like he went on this big long thing about it was like one of the biggest episodes that he was ever on Sirius XM. He just kept going on and on about Neil. So I started liking him. And then I heard he did a show with Lenny Marcus, that he did a podcast. So I'm like, okay, this will give me something else I could try to listen to. So I started listening to that, and he was always attacking Lenny Marcus. So I listened, I listened through that, and then Lenny was gone, and then he started doing the show with Jimmy Martinez, and then Jimmy Martinez went after him.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then so I listened through all that. It gave me something else because then Opie and Jim were like done, and Opie was kind of doing his own show, but then he was like doing that podcast with I don't know if you follow him, Carl, that guy Carl, the chef.
No, I don't know.
No.
Okay, so there was a guy, Chef Carl, that was on Opie's show there towards the end, and he was doing shows with him, and I was listening to that podcast. So it was like MLC, and then I always will have a major respect for Opie. 13, 14 years ago, I was going through a situation. My wife had like a big miscarriage. And it was just one of those days where like, you just feel shitty and everything's going the wrong way. And I was listening to Opie and Anthony, and they just made me laugh that day. It was just a funny thing. And I put a real quick thing on Twitter. I was like, thank you guys for making me laugh today. It really, sparked me up. In my DMs right away, Opie hit me up. He's like, hey man, he's like, I know you're a fan. I've seen you on Twitter before. He's like, I'm sorry to hear that you're going through some stuff. He's like, I'm glad we were able to make you laugh. And I was just like, wow, that was really cool that he, that he reached out, and ever since that, every so often, every few months, he'll DM me, we'll talk to each other behind the scenes and all that stuff. And, I started watching him and all this stuff, and then he kind of just stopped doing things. He just does that beer show. I'll watch every now and then, but, so I stuck with MLC, and then when I saw Chad on MLC, he reminded me of every single one of my friends, just every single one of my friends, starting shit, just talking shit, like drinking, hanging out, being himself. Like it's every single one of my friends, lying, but not but then admitting to his lies, like, to start drama. It's like every single one of my friends. So I'm like, I could relate to him. I was like, all right, I get this guy. Like, it's cool. And then when he went off on it, from Kevin, I'm like, Kevin was getting too yelly. It was getting too much. The yelling every single day. I couldn't take it anymore.
No, exactly. And that's the funny thing about this. I remember Brennan, because I didn't know who he was until like around that time, 2015, 2016. And then he started making the rounds. Like he went on Bobby Kelly's show, YKWD. And then he went out to LA and he did Joey Diaz's show, and he did Bert Kreischer's show. But I actually knew of Zumock before that. And Zumock was an LA guy, and he would always be such a great guest on shows because he'd have like that manic, like gig. He was like a mini Bert. Like he would come on a show, have crazy stories, whether they're true or not. But he'd like have that energy, like, oh man, we did this on the road. He had his threesome story, his Dennis Rodman story, a bunch of stuff from his act. So I always knew of Zumock. And then Zumock was on Punch Drunk. Then Zumock went over and started doing Brennan's show. I was like, holy shit, this is like a crazy combination of dudes like together. And that's when I started watching MLC together.
I saw him on Anthony's show on Compound Media a couple times. And I watched, and I thought he was funny on there, but it never resonated. I didn't start really realizing who he was till, I started watching MLC more. And then I realized that he was the guy that went on to Anthony's show a couple times.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, well, that was the thing. Like, I think he was way better back on, like, he has a legendary episode of Crab Feast with like Ryan Sickler and Jay Larson, where it's a story-based show. So he came prepared with stories, crazy stories and stuff like that. And he opened for Bert and he had a bunch of crazy stories about that. And then he got famous for the Patton Oswalt thing. And then basically his life turned into a revolving steps of folly where he got in trouble for this and he got banned from.
Didn't he also
the
get
state.
fucked up with X fans, right? X and Tashion when he said some. No, it was that chick. Oh my
Yeah.
bad. Yeah. Okay.
He defended some open mic comic against
Yeah.
Xtentacion, and then there's
Lost his Twitter. They hacked his ass.
100,000 people attacking him over it, and then the Patton Oswalt killed his wife. That type of thing got so he's a funny guy, and he keeps. That's what's great about him. He keeps doing stuff, and the latest thing is hopefully he does actually do this boxing thing, because as much as like he talks a bit game and he wants to do all this crazy shit, sometimes his follow through is just not all the way there. So I'd love to see it though.
Yeah.
So how is the mud shark community now in modern day right now in the present? How are you enjoying it compared to back in the day when it first started to now?
Well, now, now you kind of have formed some, sort of like acquaintances with people. So of course now I know some of the chatters a little better because they're there every day and because I'm there almost every day listening. Back in the day, I feel like it's more hostile now than it was when he was attacking Kevin,
Really?
because there was a lot of people that didn't like Kevin that were jumping on his back, that weren't listening to Uncle Rico yet, that weren't, anywhere else. They were involved in that whole thing, and there was nothing else for them really to latch onto. So they were going to Chad, and they were supporting him. And then those same people are the same one, a lot of those people completely turned on him and just, went back to Kevin or went somewhere else, went to listen to Melton or somebody else,
Mhm.
But it's definitely a different vibe. Back then, it felt more supportive because he was going after Kevin, and everybody wanted to see him take him down.
Right. I mean, he was averaging like 360, almost 400 views a fucking show.
400 views. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was constant. Yeah.
So,
But then he took some time off too. That didn't help. He went like 2
Yeah.
weeks, 3 weeks without doing stuff. And then he'd go, he'd have his short little breaks, and people like repetition. They like to know that something's there every day. They like to know when it's on. They like to know. He never had a schedule, so everybody was kind of just all over the place. And I think they fell off, they just started watching other stuff.
And he doesn't have as cohesive as a community. Like he doesn't run a Discord and have all this like we stuff. It's a lot of the Mud Shark army is a bunch of Ronins, like us.
Right.
We're just like, we like his vibe and we fuck with him as a general, but we're not like sitting around all day talking about it or anything like that. We're just loyal out of respect to the Mud Shark. So I think that's kind of why he doesn't have as strong of an army, but I think he's got a lot of individuals who are very strong, like that follow him, like us three. You got Gina Bobina, who is a
she's even
soldier.
a little bit less involved as she used to be. She was the one that got me as a mod. She was the one that told Chad, make Bill a mod, because I was there, in the chat and everything else. She's been a little bit less. I know she works and stuff, and she's in Canada, so I know it's tough for her to listen as much. But I mean, you still get your same chatters that come in, but it's not like it was. It's not the same people all the time, every day, sitting there waiting. I mean, he still gets 200 people at most times watching. But it's a different vibe. It's just a different vibe.
But I think the army will grow again, and it'll even be stronger than ever. We just need him to do a couple more crazy little antics.
I heard Steel Toe might also want him on the show, right? I was hearing something about that on X.
That was a very huge topic of conversation at dinner, because Gino and Keanu were good friends with Aaron and Aaron's wife. So we were sitting there, and he was trying to Gino was trying to tell Chad, listen, they want you on your show. This isn't a work. Like, they're not trying. There's no big surprise ending. There's no. And Chad's like, yeah, I don't know. I mean, they went after him hard in the beginning. That's how all that started. I mean, they were all attacking him and piling on, and they kept going. He didn't know who these people were. They were attacking him. So I could understand where he doesn't want to make up with them.
Is that true?
Oh yeah, Ian Hawk. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ian Hawk was blocking his supporters or something. Like, I don't know Ian Hawk, but he I guess Chad said he was blocking his, like, people were trying to super chat, and he'd block them, and he was going through and blocking all these people. So that's why he got rid of Ian Hawk as a mod.
No, perfect. But go back to your story. I'm so sorry to interrupt you at dinner.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So I mean, that was pretty much it. So he was
Yeah.
just trying to get, and Chad's like, no, he's like, I'm not. He's like, I can't do that. I mean, he's got a whole show based around it. He's got the Kumi's Cucks, and Aaron's like one of the features on there. Like, how can you go back? Like, even though they've said stuff about each other, like if it was just like a back and forth, but at first it was a pylon. It was a straight out attack on him by multiple people, and Aaron was leading the way. So I get it. I wouldn't want to go on that show. You know, I wouldn't want to go on there.
Right, but I heard also like Chad went back to MLC or something like that after he was shat on by them. So people kind of like, bro, I thought you were all about like
But
standing
it was
for
different.
yourself.
They make money together. You know,
Okay.
it's a business. So,
Yeah.
as much as this is all a work and everything is like wrestling, it's a business. Like they're making money. He's made money with Kevin. Kevin paid him money. He's not going to make money with Steel Toe. It's
Yeah,
just he's not.
it's just
It's
an
going to be a
appearance.
one-off. Yeah, it's just an appearance. It's going to be a one-off, or even if it's a regular thing, he's not going to make money. So why go do that and go back on everything that you've been saying for the last year plus? So I get it. I understood the whole MLC thing, and plus he was close with Kevin. Like they were close. They knew each other from the comedy scene. They've known each other for years.
They were friends, yeah.
Right. And all
Yes.
comedians thinking comedians are like really selfish, egotistical, really dumb, and they all think in hierarchy. So like
I'm gonna take a bit
in
scoop of
Chad's mind, he thinks Kevin's above him. So he shows reverence and respect to him.
Of
and he
course.
he thinks Aaron's below him. So
Right.
your point's great too. Like they did do a show together for years, and
Yeah.
he knows the beast he's dealing with about.
I mean,
they've had
Chad,
breakups and gotten together in the
Yes.
past, so it's
Yeah.
kind of like
Chad
different.
took MLC. He was the one getting the guests. He was the one getting the people in for MLC. He was doing the legwork. And so it was more of just like a business thing for him. And plus
Partnership.
he knew Kevin and a respect, like you said, because Kevin did comedy for what, 40 years, 30, 40 years. I mean, so, he doesn't have a connection to Aaron. The only connection is that Aaron was attacking him and he attacked back. They weren't friends for years. He didn't open for him. They never worked together. So, I get
Yeah,
it.
no, that makes sense, and it doesn't sound like. Maybe I saw Aaron was saying something about maybe trying to get involved with this boxing thing again. So who knows?
Yeah,
Maybe
he
they can
said he wanted
eventually.
to. Yeah, he said he
But
wanted to step in and fight Melton, and then he said he also would train Chad. So
But then again, you know how Zumak is. I don't know how much advice he'll take or help he'll take in all this. I
None.
really do hope it happens.
yeah,
And they do box, but we'll see.
he said today he wants more money. He wants more money. So, and I get it. It's like if you're going to go there and you're going to be the main event, and you're going to go there. I mean, he's going to help sell tickets as much as everybody's going to, talk about him. People are going to want to see it. People are going to want to see that. That's been the biggest storyline for a year now.
Well, you got to think all the guys there, their shows revolve around Chad. Like WATP covers other shows like Stuttering John and Chad. Melton covers other shows like MLC and Chad. Ray talks about Chad. We started a new show, Tard Hunting, and it covers Ray's show.
I saw that.
Yeah, so that covers. He brings up Chad for 20 to 30 minutes every show.
I don't understand that weird shit.
Nap Dixon.
either.
I've never seen Nap Dixon's show, but I assume he talks about Chad. And Earl is known for basically in the dab for knowing Chad IRL in real life. So
well, he's the one that hooked up Chad and Melton.
Right. So
he's the one that told Chad, here's this guy I've been listening to, and brought Melton into the Dabbleverse. He's like, he's a cool dude. He's cool. I like his show. And then that's when Chad got Melton involved with MLC and all that stuff.
So it sounds like all these guys, all their content revolves around Chad for the most part. I know there's ancillary guys they cover like Stuttering John or Brennan, but Chad's like the main guy. So if they're going to bring him, of course, it's going to generate way more interest, and it's going to give them way more stuff to talk about. They can make like little videos like they did in AC with Stuttering John, and they can do all that shit to generate interest. So it makes sense that they'd want him, but yeah, they'll probably need to pay up if they want to get him, because
Bill. Go ahead.
These guys just talking about anything besides Chad or talking about Chad when he's not there is just not going to have the same punch.
It doesn't make money.
No,
isn't that the crazy thing though? Chad, generates this type of attention and money. Maybe not being on his own show to the extent that like MLC's making, but I'm saying like he just draws all these people. He makes money. I could never really understand. I guess it's just his personality or what, or the bits he creates or whatnot. But he just
And that's what I
draws
always get in.
an
Right.
aura.
And that's what I always get into things with people online about. Like, you could say what you want about him, whatever, but to say he's not entertaining, you're just lying.
Like this right
Whether
here.
he's what?
Right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. People have a strong emotion towards them. They don't like them or they do. And Ray's kind of like a mini version of that. Like, a lot of people really don't like him. It's more on the fringes. I always say Ray's more on the I have a meme that I post sometimes of like the bell curve of IQ. And on the very fringes, on the very stretches of the really, really low IQ and the really, really high IQ, they get Ray and understand him. But then the whole big bell curve of people, they just can't stand him. So that's kind of it's good to have Chad's not like that. Chad's more like he has a split of people who like watching him but don't like him for different reasons, and then people who do like watching his antics.
You could say he has no talent, and I respect Brian. I've seen Brian in chats. Brian's a cool dude. I mean, it is what it is. You could say he has no talent. That's fine, but you can't say he's not entertaining. You just can't. You can't say it. Whether you like him or you don't like him, he's entertaining you enough to hate him. Like, if that makes any sense,
And Clowder's a G. He has beef with Rob Saul. We tried to get him on the show once. It's pretty funny. That was a classic moment in Mir Musk. But so that
he's a Shuley guy, right, Brian? So and I know
he's tight with Bob, I think, IRL. So he's a I don't want to repeat the name that Rob Saul gave him, but it's pretty funny. But
but also like Quad Father, right?
Yeah, unfortunately, I do.
You do? Do you like that character at all, or no?
No.
Why not?
I don't think I don't. Okay, I just don't find him interesting.
Okay.
No, no. I got a handicap. My brother-in-law's handicap. He can't use his arms, his legs. No. I don't find. I can't say I don't find him entertaining because he's entertaining in a way. It's just not for me. I don't. He tries to start too much sometimes, and his heaviness of going after Chad and going after some people are just because everybody else is doing it.
Oh, so he's a minion. He's just being.
Yeah, that's how I feel. I'm not saying that's definitely, but that's the way that I saw it. So I don't dislike the guy. I just don't watch a show. I don't dislike him. I just don't. The show's not for. It's not for me.
I'll compliment him in one aspect. So part of this whole thing is he's very consistent. He does shows all the time.
He is,
and he is covering all the other shows very, very thoroughly. So he watches all the shows and he covers them all, and he's constantly putting out new shows to watch other shows. But Zumac's almost kind of like the opposite. Like Zumac, he can't create any. Like when he tries to do his Kumia's cups and stuff. Like I've tried to tell him, like, hey, you should cover this and that. If you don't like clip it for him, or someone else doesn't clip it and post it to Reddit for him, he's not going to do shit. Like he doesn't. He is kind of lazy, but he's the opposite. Like
he admits that. He said it. He says it all the time.
All the time.
I mean, that studio that he was supposed to have in his house.
Where is that studio, Chad? Man, where's all that money going?
But he's such a. But he has the personality of like character, whereas he's like the guy who on stream with nothing to talk about, you can just laugh at because whether he does something stupid or says something funny, it's just like, okay, he's doing something. So that's like kind of like he's like the antithesis of it, and drawing up beefs and all like some of these fan shows who like to try to get involved with the beefs and all that. It looks so contrived, Like,
it does.
It doesn't look natural, in my opinion, at all.
Yeah, so
especially when it becomes like now you got a beef with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people. It's like you're trying to draw this up. There's no way that you can get in that many things with that many different people, especially in real life. Like if you hate somebody, it's you and that person. You're not going to go try to fight 4 other people before you fight that guy. It's like it's all drawn up.
Like I think you might remember the BS show or something. Not the BS show. I forgot what it was. It was that couple or something like that tried starting something for a little bit, and then they kind of faded away.
Total BS. Yeah,
Total BS. Do you remember that all? Bill,
oh yeah. I still talk to them on Twitter every now and then. Like I watch. Yeah, they tried and then they just went away.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you guys. you guys, I've watched some of your shows, and I'll tell you what, I enjoy the stuff that doesn't involve the Dabbleverse much better.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Because
same
it's kind
here.
of a step away from all that. Like, it's something I can listen to. I enjoy the both of you and your conversations, but the Dabbleverse it gets exhausting. It's like you
Right.
can
There's
only like
Yeah.
the
so many fucking
content.
people covering it.
Oh, it's just everyone. Everyone's covering it, and everyone is a part of it. And sometimes you just want to step outside of that. You know, you just want to step outside of that and hear other things. Like you've interviewed people where I'd never heard of them, don't have any idea, and then I watch it and I'm like, wow, that's pretty cool. That was a good interview. Like I don't know this person, but it was interesting. You know, and
Right.
it wasn't about the Dabbleverse.
Yeah, no doubt.
Thank
And
you.
that's the thing. It's funny because we'll have like someone like big on who's not
Yeah,
related to the dab, and it does like small numbers, and then we'll have like
right.
Gina Bobina on. It'll be like one of
I
our
know.
biggest episodes, you know,
Like, what the
because it's
fuck?
all dab drama. So it's like
Right.
it's one of those things where it's kind of like we mainly just like trying to get someone on that we can interview and that we think it might be interesting, and then just talk about that. I know we've been
I
heavy
think
Chad and heavy dab stuff because of AC, but
I
yeah.
think some of that stuff would change, like some of those numbers and some of those things would change if you weren't so much involved with the Dabbleverse, Chow.
Yeah, that's true.
Like if
Yeah.
you, because you're involved with the Dabble, and I'm not saying anything negative. I'm just saying you're involved with the Dabbleverse, so that whole community, they either really hate you or they like you, so they're gonna follow that. Mir's kind of stepped away. Like Mir, I mean, I don't see him involved with it at all. Like I never see him
I don't
anywhere in
got
the
time
Dabbleverse
anymore,
thing.
bro.
I know, I know, I know.
No, no, I totally get that, and that's the thing.
Yeah.
It's kind of like
You're still gonna
I'm
always draw that Dabbleverse stuff as long as you're involved in it and you're commenting in
Yeah,
chats and all that stuff. It's always gonna still draw
like the
that community.
broccoli incident and whatnot.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
bro, I don't know how that shit came up.
that's
Yeah.
yeah, I agree, and it'll be interesting because we got we're gonna have Sean McCorkle, UFC heavyweight on former UFC heavyweight and big Brendan Schaub hater on
Yep.
tomorrow, and he's like a big guy in the Bappa verse, which is like the Brendan Schaub and T Fat K
Oh, okay,
world.
right. Yep. Yep.
He's like well respected and known in that. And he's a funny guy too. So he's gonna come on for a bit. And that's kind of like the Hella Mark Harley Big Gay Lion stuff that we do, where it's like it's another like tangential crew of like, I don't know if you call them trolls or connoisseurs of bad comedy, like all the Dabbleverse
Right.
people.
Yeah.
So we could potentially get there's some crossover in the dab. A lot of people know about them, but it'll be interesting to see if like we get other ancillary characters to check that out. Because he was even hitting me up, McCorkle, and he's like, "Yeah, man, I'm just like my just so you know, my shows don't do huge numbers." I'm like, "Yeah, I mean, we don't care, man.
Dude,
I
I don't
know
give a
about
shit.
you.
Those are
I want to
cool.
interview you about your career and then all the latest developments with Schaub." So
Bill,
we'll see. We'll see how that one does.
Bill, you ever thought of making your own show, man? The
I
Jersey
don't have the
Shore,
time.
the Jersey Show.
Yeah, I mean, right now I'm gonna be within the next year. I'm gonna be selling my house and moving. We're gonna get a bigger space and get a couple extra rooms to where maybe I could set something up and do
Right.
something occasionally. But I don't want to do my own show. I'm not that interesting. I'm not interesting enough to do my own show. I like going on people's shows and like conversating and talking, but to do my own thing, like I'm not that interesting. I'm not a comedian. I'm not,
Right.
I'm none of that. So for me to start up something, it's like, what am I gonna do? I'm gonna do an interview show and then interview what? Like, what am I interviewing? Like, what am I gonna do?
You can
Right.
interview us, man. I'm fucking with
Yeah.
you. No, but
Yeah. I mean,
you-
the only times I really can do this stuff is like if I'm my days off from work because I got my daughter, my wife, the dog running around. I'm like, I'm not gonna be doing a podcast and have like my wife come walking through the room or something.
you
or,
just grab your
like,
wife
I'm
and
not
say, "You
doing that.
stay in this room. You stay put for the next 2 hours." All right. That's what you
Yeah.
need.
Have my wife come into the room and tell me to take a nap. I'm not
Hand
doing
you a
it.
sandwich.
Yeah.
No,
I'm in the same boat as you, Bill. It's kind of like I don't have that much personally to talk about. Like I'm not
Right.
about my life. I could talk about certain things. We did a little like sports football show for a while. I can talk about conspiracies. I can talk about certain
Bitcoin.
business stuff, crypto stuff. Yeah, I used to do a bigger show with like all crypto stuff. And like I can do that, but to me, I enjoy like the interview style, which there's not a ton of it in
Yeah.
the dab. And it's like
Yeah.
we get a guest on once, we ask them all the questions we want to ask them, and we get to know them, and that's that. Whereas like a lot of these shows are just like, hey, did you see what this guy did today? Hey, look what this guy's doing over here. And it's like it's this other type of show, and that takes like a whole investment into like what Quad's doing. And I respect it because it's like, yeah, you got to research, you got to know what you want to talk about, who's fighting with who here, who's doing this, who's doing that.
Right.
And that's what's popular now. So that's what people want. And that's not for me right now. I mean, I'll do the Ray stuff with Win by 2, but besides that, it's kind of.
Are you a fan by Win by 2?
I've watched a couple of times. I don't dislike the guy. He was in AC too. He was at Chat Show.
Oh shit! Did you talk to him at all or no?
Yeah, because I saw him right away, and he was actually really cool. He was chill. He kind of, and it was like Stuttering John. Like Stuttering John, like everybody talks about him being a drunk and all that stuff, and that's fine. But when he was at the show, he was pretty laid back, and he just hung out. Like he was meeting the fans, taking pictures with people.
Right.
Like he wasn't this over the top, guy like he is on, when they watch him on the Shuli Network and everything.
It's a fucking character.
He was actually pretty nice. I sat there, I talked to him for some time, and he sat there and he talked to people. He wasn't bigger than the situation, he was, and I understand it. I mean, the dude's a mess. He's a buffoon, but like when you meet him in person, he was fine enough to sit there and have a conversation with.
Right.
And John was the same way. John was nice. I went right up to him. I said, "Hey, I'm Bill from Jersey." I said, "Yeah, I got to use my stupid handle." I'm like, "You're John, right? Win by 2." And I shook his hand because he's here from Jersey too. But yeah, he's in. I've watched a couple of shows and been interested at it. I just don't ever know when he's really on, and and his whole Red Bar kind of setup was kind of like throwing off at the beginning, because I'm like, all right, he's trying to be like people are trying to be like Red Bar, but he is like being like Red Bar. Like,
oh my god, see, that's gonna piss off John. You can't say that, man.
Well, I know.
The funny thing,
I know it is. I don't think that anymore. Since I've watched his shows and I saw his style, just his setup is that way. Just because his setup that way doesn't mean he's not Red Bar. He's not.
It's a good trigger word, but it doesn't.
Yeah.
It's funny because I've done his show a handful of times, and I've talked to him and done a little pre-prep on stuff we've done.
Right.
And dude, he doesn't even know anything about Red Bar. Like I'll reference, because I've been watching Red Bar forever. So I'll be like, dude, what about, like, do you remember when, like, they did this? And, like, he's like, dude, I just found out about Red Bar in, like, 2021.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, he probably is inspired by him. But at the same point, like, he doesn't know, like, a bunch of the shit about Red Bar. Like, he doesn't know Ray was on Red Bar and all this different. So, anyway, so it's like.
You know what? If
funny.
he wasn't a visual show, you would never think it. You would never think that. But because of his visualization and the setup is kind of like that whole Red Bar setup with the stuff in the back, people automatically think, and that's what I thought too. Until I watched him a couple times and I'm like, no, this isn't Red Bar. Like, it's a completely different style. I respect the dude.
No, he's funny as fuck, dude. I love watching
he is.
the show.
He's a funny dude.
He's funny as fuck.
He's a funny dude. Yeah.
Happy Valentine's Day, Gina. We were talking about you a little earlier.
Yes, ma'am.
Je t'aime.
So Bill,
the Mudchuck Army.
So Bill, real quick, is there any I would say within the Mudshark Army, do you guys have any plans? Is there anything like Chaz talked to you about privately that there might be some like new bits in the works or nothing like that? No news to talk
nothing
about?
ever planned. Nothing's ever planned. Nothing's planned. Ever.
All right. I do think I need to end this here though, boys, because it is Valentine's Day, and so I.
Gotcha.
My wife was just peeking in here, looking at me like,
"Yeah,
what are you doing?"
My girl said, "Yeah." She's all like, "Are you done yet?" I'm like, 10 more minutes."
But no, man, it was really cool having you on, and
I had a fun time, man.
Yeah, man, you're the man. Well,
I'd love to do this again. Mean, like I said, like I try to work it around my work schedule. Like if I have days off, it's just easier because during the day I'm home all by myself. There's nobody here. It's just me. So I don't got to worry about being interrupted or, having to shut it down. So
like we did on Saturday, like when there's an event or something going on, we call a freak party and we get a bunch of like dudes just popping in here and just talking shit, drinking, partying. It's actually
I'm gonna get
really fun.
I'm gonna get myself a green screen too because like when I do my show, like I could do it from my base. I got a whole basement downstairs, but it's like you're literally staring at this like old ass brick wall behind me, and it just doesn't look good. It looks stupid. I'm like, I'm not gonna do it from there. You know, I'm
You don't
like,
want
I'm
to put
good in my
shelving
kitchen.
up or something, or do some lights or something
No,
like that?
I'm moving out.
Maybe
I'm
a,
not going to put any more
maybe a
money
British
into the stuff.
flag. You can put up a British flag.
Yeah, I'll put a Japanese flag for the karate style that I do.
There you go, dog.
I got
All
actually a couple other interesting stories sometime to tell you
Okay,
about my life wise that we can get into next time.
Absolutely. Maybe we'll try to
Yeah.
get Zumak on too with you one of these
that'd be
days.
awesome.
Yeah.
That'd be
Okay.
fun.
That'd be cool.
So,
Yeah. Yep.
all right, Mir, you want to send us off?
Yeah, everyone, thank you for watching. Tomorrow, real quick, Chow. So we have the wrestler, correct? Or the
MMA heavyweight.
so we have the
Sean
MMA
McCorkle. Yep.
Sean McCorkle tomorrow. What time is that at? I'm not too sure.
In the afternoon sometime.
Okay, in the afternoon we have Sean McCorkle, and then later in the night we have Ice with Shoddy to talk about the emo rap drama that I've created within the atmosphere that got us struck on the channel. So till
I saw
then,
that.
yeah. So we'll see what happens with that episode. But either way, Bill, it was an honor to meet you, sir. Honor to have
Thanks,
you
guys.
on. You're a super cool
Thanks.
dude. It was really appreciated. Till then,
Thanks, Bill.
everyone, have a great Valentine's Day, and make sure you buy your lady or man something nice. All right. Peace out, y'all.
Cheers. Till next time.
Yeah.